Like-minded, high-profile female leaders are gathering in Vancouver tomorrow to talk about working women, their challenges and successes. What does it take to embrace and advance a career in the age of social media, global marketing, and changing workplace dynamics? Mary Prefontaine is the CEO and president of ICAN, the Institute for Career Advancement Needs. She is the producer of the conference, and it is my pleasure to welcome Mary Prefontaine to Studio 4 to tell us more.
Thank you, Fanny. It's great to be here and to catch up with you.
Well, we discovered that we have both spent a bit of time in Jasper because you were born there in Jasper, Alberta, in the Rockies.
I was, and I'm darn proud of it, to be Canadian through and through.
No kidding,
Yeah.
and you do go back, I'm sure.
I do go back. I do go back to visit friends and family and, of course, to hike in the mountains.
Of course, but that doesn't sound very corporate. Sounds like it's, you know, good for your balance, life balance, but not very corporate. So what drew you into the corporate world? Who drew you?
Well, that's a great question. My career was actually always in business, and of course here in Vancouver for many years in the tourism industry. And so, you know, when you're born, I think, in a community like Jasper, I think maybe tourism is in your blood, and from tourism came business, and I moved to the States about 5 or 6 years ago, and began to work in corporate America in a serious way around leadership and what were leaders bringing to their organizations, and why was it important that they were smart, smart and caring, actually. So that's how I got into it.
Okay, and a leader today in the corporate world, the corporate race, some call it, a female leader today. Essential elements every woman has to think about if she wants to succeed.
Yeah.
And don't we all?
And we do want to succeed. Well, I think regardless of the gender, you know, man or woman, let's just talk about what really needs to happen here. We're looking for people that we want to follow. We want to be the leader that someone else wants to follow. And so bringing yourself authentically, honesty, integrity, and vision. People want transparency around the vision. They want to know where they're going, and they want to know where the bus is taking them.
Sure, and mostly they want vision.
Yes,
Is
they
anything
do.
better than to have a president or a prime minister with vision, or a husband with vision, you know, long-term thinking, great ideas, great ideas.
Yes, great ideas, and also a meta view. A meta view of why is it important to do this work, and why are you important to the work and to the vision. They want to have some meaning, particularly the younger generations are really looking for meaning in their work, and they want to have their organizations care about something more than just making the bottom dollar.
Yes, I started a bit with the body shop concept in that Anita gave back to society.
Yes.
It's one way of doing it in a corporate game. I shouldn't call it a game, but sometimes it is.
Well, it is.
Some examples of what a leader can do in a corporation to make an employee feel valued, an employee wanting to come to work every day and have some fun and make a difference.
Well, I love the expression, we're going to work hard, we're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to make a little money. And I think if most leaders, managers of people, even took that approach, that very simple approach, they would get a lot further with their talent in their organization. And I think the other important element today, Fanny, is that people are community-minded. It's no longer okay just to be in your tower with your head down, counting your bucks in the bank. Now it's about, let's look around and where can we add something back out into society? And that has become more and more prevalent in many organizations.
Is it practical?
I think it's very practical, and I think that we can no longer count on government and some of the institutions that have been assailed by the downturn in the economy and all kinds of other global impacts that have affected business. We have to be looking at what else are we doing here in the world together.
Sure. And in the olden days, our fathers had jobs for life, pretty much. And today, as you know, our kids' resumes look a lot different. And they don't seem to have any compunction about switching it up, changing jobs, changing careers, changing paths.
They really don't, and they're way more courageous than I think we perhaps were with regards to sticking to something. They recognize that they're talented, that they're globally versed, and they can go just about anywhere and learn something new and run with it. And they don't care so much about failing, I think, either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a workplace expert said to me once, you know, kids today walk in for the interview and, like millennials or 30-somethings, walk in for the interview and say, I'd like to be the vice president. I don't want to start in the mailroom. And they say, well, maybe you could start at the front desk. No, that isn't the job I want.
Right.
Is that?
Oh, absolutely. And there are many, I think there is seriously a mixed view of what you can and cannot do when you're around 30 and looking for the top job. And I think it's frustrating and inspiring to be an employee or an employer looking at that talent pool, because they're smart and they're full of optimism and they're willing to work, and yet, yes, they are asking for a lot.
Sure, to work, to learn.
Yes.
All of that, stay motivated. As you know, the best job in the world is the one you would do for free.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And aren't you doing it?
I am.
So am I.
But I'm not doing it for free yet.
Just wanting to make that really clear.
Just in case Mr. Shaw is listening, not doing this for nothing. But I would, if I could. If tomorrow you win the $2 million or
absolutely
the big lotto comes in.
Absolutely.
I maybe shouldn't even say that. No. I'd still like a paycheck, because there's something about reward. And I know women have the reputation of not asking for what they want, being afraid to walk in and say, I want this much money, I want this job.
Yes.
And rumor has it men are more aggressive. Don't know if it's true.
Well, I think that they've been educated and trained and raised to be more aggressive. And I like to think that we are becoming, as women, more assertive. I look at my 31-year-old daughter, and she's assertive, she's smart, she takes no prisoners. She's far more courageous in claiming and declaring what she wants.
Sure, and they weren't raised, our kids weren't raised with the idea that you can be a nurse or a teacher.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm really old when I was raised with that, but I was, you know, nurse, teacher, law, maybe. But that would be a real stretch. You would be the only engineer for sure.
Right.
In the class.
And now we're seeing women in all industries and leaders in all industries. And there are many of those leaders that we will have at the summit tomorrow from across Canada and the U.S. that are leading industry and business in ways in which they've never did before.
Okay, so number one of your keynotes, Sherry Cooper.
Yes, chief economist for the Bank of Montreal. And just whipper smart at telling us what are we seeing in the economic picture in the next few years, both in Canada and the U.S., and what are the global economic impacts that we can expect on business today, and what do we have to watch out for?
Exactly, and do you know the answer?
I haven't a clue.
Haven't a clue. Okay, because it's a global world, as you know, and if you're going to do business, or you have to get into outsourcing and what's going on and the politics of it all and geopolitics. And speaking of crisis, because, as you know, we can point a camera at just about anybody and anything. So if you're making a product and it's not a good product and there's slave labor or child labor putting it together, you're in trouble. And your brand is in trouble.
And it's a great thing that that's the case. I think that transparency in business is more important than it ever has been. And I think both employees and customers are demanding transparency.
Yes, and you have the woman who heads up the Four Seasons Canada.
Yes, Katie Taylor. In fact, she heads up globally Four Seasons, and she is a dynamite. Now, there's a woman that started in the organization at a young age. She has a legal background as a lawyer and rose through the ranks and really was Izzy Sharp's predecessor long before she got the title and the accountability.
Okay, and Izzy Sharp, the big poobah at the Four Seasons, he has a reputation of being a visionary.
Indeed, and clearly so. They have more than 50 some odd properties across the world, and are, from a brand recognition, we all know what we can expect at the Four Seasons.
Brand, and service, all of that. And as you see, not to get blindsided in the hotel business, but you see the trend towards boutique hotels and cocooning away from home, all of that. So Ned Bell was here recently, who's the chef at the Four Seasons. And their hotel food used to be not so good. Do you remember?
I do.
Like it was hotel food. We
It
say, oh,
was.
it's hotel food. We should go to a real restaurant. Well, now.
Yes, you want to be at the U to have lunch because it's fantastic.
And it's a power room. I don't know if you've been recently.
I was there last night, and indeed it is. And, you know, the other thing, I think, whether it's the hotel industry, whether it's banking, whether it's IT and technology, that idea of service and meeting customer and employee expectation is critical to their success. So you can't be siloed any longer in thinking that you've got the only product. The marketplace is noisy, there's lots to choose from, hotels or other.
Of course.
You've got to be good at it.
Mickey Drexler was here last week. They opened J. Crew here.
Yes.
And he branded the Gap, and he's been up and down and all around. Got fired. Steve Jobs called him, one of his good pals, and said, you're getting fired tomorrow. he says, I am. Well, and how do you know that? Well, he sat on the board of the Gap. And so, surprise. And I guess things weren't going perfectly and all of that. So he said, tomorrow you're getting fired. So then you reinvent and start again.
You do. Ariana Huffington was just with me in a summit that I held in Omaha,
Really?
Nebraska, and she said the most fabulous thing. She said, the way I look at being fired or failure is it's simply a step on the journey to success.
Okay.
And most of us learn from it, and it's a great thing to have happen to us.
Drexler said to me, I learned from my mistakes or whatever mistakes they were, and today he rarely sits at his desk. He's a walk-around guy.
Right.
He was in the store on Robson taking clothes off the models, not the live models, but the store, you know, the store models, and saying, you know, I think this is the kind of town that would like pink jeans instead of blue jeans. Down, the devil's in the details, down to the details.
Indeed. And
was my sense of him.
Absolutely. And I think that's what you see with the Katie Taylor. And I think you're even seeing it in industries that you may not expect it in, because consumers are saying it is in the details. When you walk into Shaw to pay your bill, or when you walk into the bank at HSBC to get your money, you want service, and it is in the details, that they remember your name.
Because we work very hard here when we get a complaint about I had to wait online for an hour or 10 minutes, whatever. So take that to heart, and you know, customer's always right.
Always.
Don't you know?
Always right, indeed.
Mary Prefontaine, our guest, she is running a corporate, sort of.
Yeah, producing.
Or producing. Corporate State Vancouver Summit. Tomorrow it's sold out, so you can't go, but we'll tell you more about it when we return.